What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show. As always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And just like to tell you that this is the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations. And we have this is not a new friend. He has been on the Dr. Vibe show, but it's been a long time. Actually, it goes back to Blab days. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been like Blab days. But just like to say, it's good to have him back, as always. And we're just going to give a little background about our I was going to say new friend, but I'll take him as a new friend because the first time he's on YouTube Live. So, it is Leroy McKenzie Jr. He's a native from Bmore, which is Baltimore for those who don't know it. He's a product of the Baltimore public and private school systems. He's received his Bachelor of Science degree in Hotel and Restaurant Management from the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore. He's also a proud member of the New Psalmist Baptist Church, where he serves on several ministries. He is the president and CEO of JNF Enterprises, which is a distribution, publishing, and business consulting firm located in Baltimore, Maryland. He's also a contributing writer for the Real Life Faith, Men of Faith magazine, the Tubman City News online paper, and the Indie Mogul magazine. He's written books on poetry. He's written books on business and finance. He's written books on entrepreneurship. He's written books on leadership. He's written, what hasn't he written? He has performed his poetry and spoken at churches and various other venues throughout the country. JNF Enterprises, which started in 2004. Wow, that's been around for a minute. With the publishing of Mr. McKenzie's debut books of poetry, The Inner Soul, Volumes 1 and 2, and the launching of their Christian apparel line, Try 3 Jesus. Believing in the vision that God placed in him, Leroy set out to put distribution, publishing, and business consulting industries on notice that it was about to be a new way of doing business. He's got a lot going on. I got to read a little bit more. Following the purpose of bringing visions to reality, JNF seeks to enlighten, empower, and impact in the communities that it will touch and does touch. He seeks to provide emerging authors with an independent avenue to mainstream exposure and touch individuals, businesses, and churches with their Christian-based products and entrepreneurship techniques. By being a Christian-based company, they add spiritual foundation to their business that will add your business will add instant credibility, integrity, and a general sense of courtesy to the distribution, publishing, and business consulting industries. In this time and day where businesses have missed the mark in providing exceptional products and services, JNF is poised to bring back the basics back to business. So welcome tonight to our epic conversation, Leroy McKenzie Jr. He's going to be talking about what does the 2018 you look like, being a better you in 2018. So welcome to the Dr. Vibe show on the YouTube channel, Mr. Leroy McKenzie. How are you, sir?
I am awesome, sir. How are you? Let me tell you, it is wonderful to be back on your show again. Yeah. I know it's been a minute, but hey, it is great to be back on your show, and I appreciate you inviting me back and having me back on the show. It is truly an honor. You are a great man doing some great things. So I appreciate what you're doing and allowing me to come on and talk to you and have the conversation like you and I always say, have a conversation.
We all just have a conversation. Well, I hoped you liked me before I invited you back.
Oh, absolutely.
I just wanted to make sure that I was still in your good graces, right? Good stuff. That is excellent. You know what I'm going to ask you to do? Just you know what? Just be careful, because when you move yourself down, we lose a bit of your chin, and I love your round chin. So This is all good. Well, like we like to do, and it's been a long time, so we want to catch up. Can you give our audience a little background about yourself? We know Bmore is home, but what was life growing up in Bmore?
Wow. For growing up in Bmore, I say this, I love my city. I think that this is one of the great cities of this country. It has so much to offer as far as talent. There's so much talent. There's so much just greatness that is filled with this city historically, as well as just everything. And me growing up here in the city and knowing it and loving it and appreciating it for the greatness that it does have to offer. I couldn't ask for a better place to grow up, to be honest with you. I know that Baltimore, B-more has its stigma, that's attached to it. But as I say, being the exception to, well, not even the exception to the rule, I think it has a negative stigma, which I think people just seem to just focus on, as opposed to all of the great things that are here in Baltimore and that have come out of Baltimore. So, and I will proudly say that I am one of those great things.
Well, there you go. And you're
from Baltimore.
You're a great thing. You're a great thing from B-more, and you haven't left. You're still there.
Exactly. So
okay. So young brother in Baltimore, school, education, family. Share a little bit about with us.
Well, my background as far as education wise is I went to elementary and middle school. I went to a private school. I went to a Seventh-day Adventist school here in Baltimore, and I am forever grateful for my mother giving us that foundation. Myself and my two sisters, we grew up in this school, and the school went from first grade all the way up to 8th grade. So we were groomed in the school, got our foundation, I call it, our foundation in our Seventh-day Adventist, because that's what we were raised as, Seventh-day Adventists. So after middle school, 8th grade, graduating from the Seventh-day Adventist school, I went into public school. I went to public school. I actually went to, my father was a public school teacher. So I wound up going to the school that he was a teacher at. He was a physical education teacher and a coach, football coach, basketball coach, track coach, almost anything you can name. He kind of coached it in high school, but went to the high school that he was a teacher at until he actually had sustained an injury and retired from the school system at that time when he hurt his back. But he went to the school that he was a teacher at for that first year, and I stayed in the school, but he went on to retire. But did my public school, went to my high school in public school, and then went on to college from there, University of Maryland Eastern Shore, where I went to school down on the Eastern Shore of, those that might be familiar with Maryland, the Eastern Shore part of Maryland, in a little itty bitty town called Princess Anne, Maryland. If you blink, you'll miss it. It's literally one of those towns that has one traffic light. I lied to you.
Come on. One traffic light.
One traffic light.
Does it still have one traffic light?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a huge favor. If you ever go back to that town, take a picture of that traffic light.
Okay, I sure will. And I'm actually been trying to put together, because there's been several, many of us that are alumni from there that have gone on to do some very successful things. And so I'm trying to get together, whether it's me individually or a couple that, because I know several of them, to go back and to speak at the school, to just go back and give back to those students that are there now, to show them what Hawk Pride is. And I know you can't see it on there, but I'm wearing my shirt, my University of Maryland, my Hawk shirt.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
My HBCU, my proud HBCU shirt. So.
Okay. Yes. In fact, the camera's perfect as it is right now. So that shirt added to the greatness of this epic conversation.
So, but graduating from there, and moving on from there out into the corporate world, and then starting my own business. So that's just a little bit of my background and what I've done, and then a little bit of where I'm headed. So
okay. Well, definitely some conversation pieces I want to get to before we talk about 2018 and goal setting. Your father was an educator, yes, which is interesting because you and I have something in common, because my dad was an educator in the same public school for 38 years.
Yep. Absolutely. Wow. Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
So how was it for you as a child growing up in a household with a dad as a teacher, as an educator, on top of the same school that you went to, where he taught at?
Well, here's the thing about that, and it was good on one end, and it was a stickler on the other. Not only was my father an educator, he was educated in the school system, but he was also a pastor too.
Wow!
So,
wow! Wow!
So, yeah.
A preach, teach kid.
So, but going to the same school that your father was a teacher at, you can only imagine you couldn't act up. There was no acting up, because if he found out, it was for sure if you acted up, he was going to find out. Your grades had to be on point, and he was actually my freshman year. I played JV basketball,
right,
and he was my coach. So
being
on the team that your dad coaches, it gave me, and it was actually it gave me some really good life lessons that I think when I've looked back now, it gave me some really great life lessons that he taught me. Of course, I didn't think of it that way back then,
right?
But it gave me some great life lessons, because I remember, and I'll give you one quick story. To start the season off, I thought I was knew I was the best. I should have been the starting point guard for the team. I felt like I was the best, best person that was on the position. Yep. He did not start me.
Oh,
he did not start me, and so as you can imagine, I'm a little upset. I'm a little tight, because I felt like I was the best, best point guard out there. So we go into the season, and a couple games in, he starts me. So, my curiosity, and it came about, one game we're playing and I do really well, stuff going on. And so he, starts me kind of after that. And so one day he and I are having a conversation, and I said, Dad, he said, he was like, he said, I knew you were better than the guy that I put in front of you. He said, but I wanted the other players to know that you were better than him. And I did not want you to think that just because you were my son, that I was going to give you everything or give you anything. He said, understand, nobody owes you anything. He said, I don't owe you anything. He said, and nobody in life is ever going to give you anything. You've got to earn it. So, I took that and have really held on to that piece that he gave me, that I've always understood that anything that I get, I have to earn. I got to work for it. I got to put the work in, and nobody owes me anything. Nobody's going to give me anything, and nobody owes me anything. Those two things have always stuck with me from that lesson that he gave me in playing basketball and playing for him. He just was always a stickler for discipline, doing the things that you were doing, and he didn't care if you were his son or if you were the star player on the team. If you didn't do what you were supposed to do, hey, you either didn't play or you got sat down. That's the kind of man that he was, and the way that he ran his program.
Wow. Just a little retrospective. You said you've been thinking periodically. You think back about.
Hear you, Dr.
Sorry. Just a little retrospect here in regards to you saying you think back to those years. What were some of the things, some of the values that your parents instilled in you that you still carry on today? You mentioned a little bit about your father. What about your mother?
Oh wow. My mom, I can't say enough about her and what she's given me. I mean, everything that I, pretty her and my dad, but her specifically, my discipline that I have, my will to always show up. I mean, this is a woman that she retired a couple of years ago from just a few years ago from Social Security. 46 years, one job.
Wow.
Support, supporting 3 kids, putting 3 kids through college, and 3 entrepreneurs. So I get my work ethic from her. Getting up, going to work, showing up every day, being able to do the things that you're supposed to do, always showing up, having the foundation, my passion for Christ that I have, my passion for the Lord comes from her. Being in the church, understanding who God is, and having my own relationship with Him, establishing my own relationship with Him. In business, never giving up, always being prepared. Making sure that I understand what it is that I'm doing, my assignment, and always just doing and being my best, looking my best, having a professional mindset about everything that I do, being on time. If you got to be somewhere, it's not about just being there at the time that you're supposed to be there, but being there 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes prior to when you're supposed to be there. All of those things about showing up. Just the different things around how I try to run my business, never giving up, my determination. Always trying to operate in excellence. All of those things come from her.
Nice. So let me ask, in regards to what some of the insights or some of your experiences in the corporate world, and what made you transfer from the corporate world into entrepreneurship?
Well, I've always had the entrepreneurship mindset, to be honest with you. My parents have always just instilled in me about being able to do whatever it is that I wanted to do. And I've always felt like I was going to be an entrepreneur. If you'd have told me it would be in this aspect that it's in, I really wouldn't have. I'd have told you I don't know where you got that from. But that's always that foundation has always been there. And then when I got into the corporate world, and I've always felt like I did not fit. I always felt like I had more. I wanted more, to do more, and I was always somebody that thought differently. So when you're a black man in corporate America, and you think differently,
yes.
It's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing. So that led me to being an entrepreneur, and then also honestly seeing the way that media corporations were being mishandled and not run properly, and how I felt like they should be run differently. They had people in leadership positions that I felt like didn't belong there. They either didn't have the training, or they just didn't, they just weren't equipped for that particular leadership position. Because leadership is not for everyone. And just because you have a title doesn't make you a leader. So that was what led me to entrepreneurship, and always saying, you know what, I want to have my own business. I have a passion for making an impact. And I honestly, I wanted to leave something behind in this world when I left. I wanted to have a legacy. And this is part of that.
It's interesting. We could spend this whole conversation talking about all the different ventures that you've been involved in. So I'm going to pick a few, and you can, let's start at the core. How did J&F Enterprises start, and why did it start?
J&F Enterprises started with my 2 books of poetry that I've written, and those came from actually when I was in college. I'd written some poems when I was in college, just to it was a hobby, just writing to kind of get my thoughts out, and it was a way for me to be able to express myself and to be able to do things. And the Christian apparel, the Try 3 Jesus that you mentioned, was something that I had, and I was like, wow. I was like, I kind of think I should do something with this. The poetry, I didn't think I had enough in order to be able to write books, to write a book. And I had a couple of people that told me I should put them in a book, but I didn't think I had enough poetry to be able to put into a book. But at the time I was just like, you know what? I'm like, well, maybe they have something to it, because I did see, honestly, I saw the effect that my poetry had on, had on individuals and the compliments that I had gotten back from them and all those things. So I was like, you know what? Let me find out what I need to do. And so I started to do my research and my homework on, on the publishing industry, book publishing industry, what I needed to do in order to be able to write a book. Because I didn't want to have someone control my vision. So I didn't want to do the mainstream publishing. So I was like, well, if I do this, then I'm going to have to do myself. So I'm going to have to learn what it is that I need to do. So that's where I started doing my homework, started finding, researching and trying to find out some things. And so I started to put the book together. And I said, well, Lord, if this is what you want me to do, then I need you to give me the direction in order to be able to do it. And that's what started to happen. And I found out the more that I started to write the poetry, the more I had to write. The more things I had to write about when it came to that. And then the apparel came from my passion for ministry, but also for the Lord. And the Tri-Three Jesus comes from, of course, the three represents the Holy Trinity, but the Tri-Jesus came from my wanting to serve to others. What ministry, what is it that the answer, I'll put it that way, was the answer to whether you're a non-believer or a believer. He's the answer. So you've tried everything else. If you're a non-believer, you've tried everything else. You've done everything else. Here's something that I'm going to show you. Here's somebody I'm going to tell you about, because it served as a witness tool. Here's somebody I want to tell you about what he's done for me. I'm not going to tell you what he's going to do for you. I'm going to tell you what he's done for me. And then you get to make that choice. And then those that are in Christ, you already know when things get rough, when your back is against the wall, or when you're trying to make it through this journey called life, you have to have somebody that you call on. Who is it better than the call on than Jesus? So that's where the Christian apparel came from. And then the name of my company, JNF Enterprises, came from the acronym or the letters stand for Jesus Never Fails.
There we go. The magic answer finally comes out.
So that's the overarching theme of my business, was Jesus Never Fails. And everything that I do with JNF Enterprises is surrounded by Jesus's ministry, because the three core things of JNF Enterprises is to enlighten, empower, and impact. And that's to enlighten you, which is to teach you something, which to empower you, which is to equip you with something, and then to impact you, which is to give you something that you can take and you have the responsibility to give to someone else and teach to someone else. And that's what Jesus's ministry did. It taught us, he equipped us, and then he gave us the assignment to go out and to teach it to others.
Wonderful.
So that's where all of that comes from.
Beautiful. So with all that foundation, and we could go even longer if we want to.
I know.
Let's talk about why did you? Well, obviously, indirectly, one of the reasons why you wanted to chat about why does the 2018 you look like, being a better you in 2018. Take us on this journey.
Wow. Here's the thing. A couple of weeks ago, and usually around this time of year, I always try to focus on what I want to do in the upcoming year. So this year, I started putting some thoughts on paper, and I started to think about what is it or who is it that I want to be December of 2018. What do I want to look like a year from now? Because I don't want to be the same person in December of 2018 that I am right now in 2017. So that's where that question came from. I asked myself that question first. And and what does the 2018 me look like? So I developed that question, and from that question, I kind of broke it down into personal and from a business perspective. And each of those things developed into like core things, and we'll probably talk. Hopefully, we'll get to talk about those core things. There are 5 core things that go into the business side, and then there are 1, 2, 3, 4 things on the personal side that I went into, and I broke it down, one to go for myself, but then also for my clients as well, because this was something that I've sent to my clients for them to work on, and it's a template that can be used in order to be able to, each year. All you do is, this is something that you can, from this day forward, you can actually use it each year to go back to. You can actually use it for the next year and the next year and the next year and the next year.
Okay. Before I ask you, start breaking it down, is it also, this template, something that can be used during the year, not just at the end of the year?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And that's what, it gets broken down into the different aspects, well, the different parts of the year. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, you got a lot to deliver, so I'm opening the door and letting you run through the door. So the gate is open. Go.
Well, the 2018 year, and we'll start from the personal perspective, since you and I talked about the manhood, and for those listeners that you have that are females, this is actually applicable to them as well. They can certainly use this. This is not for just men. This is actually for men and women to be able to use in order to be able to see the person that they are or want to be in 2018. And it actually starts off with that basic question: what does the 2018 you look like? And I broke it down into a couple of different sections. That's mentally, physically, relationally or personally, and then spiritually. So those are the different aspects of you, yourself, that you should be looking at mentally. Where is your mindset? What mindset do you have going into 2018? You don't want to be at 2018 thinking about your mindset. You want to be now. We're 10, 11 days away from 2018. So you want to start now thinking about mentally, what is it that you want to do? Where do you want to be in? What mental space do you want to be in? And how are you going to get there? Because it's a journey that you're going to be on, whether it's mentally, physically, personally, professionally, and spiritually. This is a journey that you're on. So you have to take and put into those steps, place mentally that you want to, where you want to be at. If it's, mentally you want to be more comfortable with yourself, what do you need to do in order to be able to get there mentally? If it's reading certain books, listening to certain videos, or watching certain videos to be able to get you in this space, then that's what you do. I know for me personally, I'm a part of this group called 21 Days of Greatness. And it's a small group of us that we get together, we've gotten together, and we get on a conference call. We've gotten on a conference call once a week. And what we do throughout the week is we're required to listen to an hour each day. And you can break that hour up into 30-minute segments if you want to. But to get into 30-minute, and you can listen to those individuals motivate you, that pour into you, and that give you ideals of you being a better person, getting you in a certain mindset. And one of the things, I think it was Les Brown that said this, that the first 20 minutes of your day is the most important part of your day. It sets the tone for your day. So usually, like in the morning, that's one of the first things that I do when I get up. I'm listening to something that's motivational to me, something that kind of gets me inspired for my day, and something that I can learn from that particular day. So, and then the other 30 minutes, I usually try and do it before I go to bed. That way, my beginning of my day and my end of my day has something that gets me in a mental mindset, in a positive mental mindset. So the second thing is physically. Where do you want to be physically? Are you physically in shape? Do you want to eat right? Do you want to, are you eating healthy, being healthy? Where is it that you want to be physically? Do you need to change your eating habits? I know there are things that I'm working on, me personally, with my eating habits. I want to stop eating so late. One of my things is stop eating, so late. So if those are things that you're setting, that you're setting aside and that you want to do in 2018, that you want to achieve in 2018, you have to get yourself mentally ready. And then now it's physically ready. How do I get myself physically ready for 2018? Do I want to lose 10 pounds? Or do I want to lose 15 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds? How do I break that down into, like you were saying, throughout the year? I'm not going to, January 1, I'm not going to achieve everything. So it has to be a incremental segments that you do. And actually what I did for the business aspect of it, I broke it down into quarters. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. And almost like a track. A track is 400 meters around. But when you break a track, break a track down, you break it down into 100-meter segments. So what do you want to achieve the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter? And you do that with your mentally. What do you want to achieve in that first quarter? Physically, what do you want to achieve in that first quarter? Professionally, what do you want to achieve in that first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter? And even professionally and relationally, what are your relationships like? What is your family relationship like? What is your friendship relationship like? And saying, okay, if there's some people that I need that I need to exit left in my life, then yep. I did this a couple of weeks ago. Their expiration date is December 31st, 2017. Making sure that they don't go with you into 2018. Right. And then how do you nurture the relationships that you're going to have in 2018? Whether it's from a business perspective, because one of my goals in business is to have strategic partnerships. So in order for me to have strategic partnerships, I have to have relationships. I've got to build relationships in order to be able to do that. So how can I build relationships? That means I gotta be out there. I gotta be meeting people. I have to introduce myself to people. If I am a introvert and one of my goals is to, expand my brand or to grow myself, hey, I've got to come out of that comfort zone. So what are things that I can do incrementally to be able to get me acclimated to being out there and talking more to people, exposing myself more to people, gaining those, because gaining those relationships is key to business, but then also friendships, or even like I said, something called the players' corner or something. There are two players, or ex-players. They'll sit and they'll talk to each other, have conversation, like you and I are having right now. So they had Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas.
Yes, I saw that video.
That was so powerful. Yeah. And it went to the healing of a relationship. Because these were two guys that were they were tight as two bugs. For those that know who they are, know that they were the best of friends, in the league growing up. And then when they had a falling out, when Magic came out with letting people know that he had the HIV virus and everything, they had a falling out then. And they had been estranged since then. And to see them last night talk about their relationship and their friendship. And then Magic even saying, if I've done anything to hurt you, I apologize. And for those two men to sit there on national TV and to be that transparent and to see the emotion that they shared in that moment, and to see the healing, because you could see it, how it affected Isaiah Thomas, that relationship that he had with him. And it just went to show me, I watched it a couple times today, just how powerful it was. So working at the relationships that we have, if it's a relationship that needs to be mended, you know, how are you going to go about mending that relationship? How are you going to go about making that putting that relationship back together? If it's a relationship that needs to be let go, how do you let it go? How can you let it go? How can you get out of a relationship that you don't want to be in? You know, even that is important, taking steps to even do that. So those are the two, you know, relationship type things, whether it's professionally, whether it's, you know, whether it's personally, those things. And then spiritually, of course, where do you want to be spiritually? You know, in your walk with God. You know, how do I do that? How do I spend more time with God? You know, because that's the only way relationships grow, is by spending more time with someone. And where do you see yourself in that relationship, and how do you grow it? Whether that's going to church more, whether that's getting into a Bible study, going to a Bible study, you know, group. What are the things that I need to do in order to be able to grow me spiritually? You know, being around other, you know, other brothers, other females, you know, that may be able to help me to be able to grow. One of the things that I learned, and it helped my spiritual growth, and this was a couple of years ago now, my church has what's called a discipleship program. It's the foundation of my pastor's ministry. And it's a 3-year program that you go through. And what you do is you're in a group, a small group with individuals, and each year you kind of focus on a different aspect of, you know, of the Bible. So, and you have workbooks that go along with it. And I was with a core group. It was like I started off with 4 of us. And we wound up with 3 of us, at the end. And then we had 2 facilitators. And it helped us to be, because in those 3 years, you can only imagine, you go through so much and you build this bond with each other, you know, as men, because they have them separate, where you have men in one group, women in another group, and it's broken out into, you know, you're broken. And you tie them into, of course, the Bible, and how to be able to get through some things. And as you can only imagine, you experience some things, whether it's whether it's the family, personal stuff. You go through all of these things, and it is one of the things that I will be forever grateful for, because I have a lifelong bond with these men that I went through this discipleship program with. And it helped me to grow, it helped them to grow, and it helped all of us to grow spiritually, and you know, and personally. So that's kind of the thing that you want to look at. What do you need to do in order to be able to grow, you know, from a spiritual aspect of it? So that's the first thing. The second thing is I call going into 2018 with a fear factor mindset. Fear factor mindset, and all of us, I think, can remember the show Fear Factor, and what what this show called you to do. You had to do these really outrageous things, these crazy things, in order to be able to win. But when we think of fear, the term fear, usually the acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real. I'm sure most people have heard that acronym. Well, I came up with another acronym because I think differently. And I was just like, hey, I want something different that's going to put a new twist on being fearful. And fear stands for, the acronym is facing every assignment relentlessly. Let me say that again. Facing every assignment relentlessly. And what that is everything that you want to accomplish in 2018 is an assignment. You're on an assignment. What assignment is it? The mental, physical, personal, and professional, and spiritual. And each of those aspects are assignments. And how are you going to approach each of those assignments? And what I'm telling folks is you must face each of those assignments relentlessly, which is where you have a I must get this done mindset to it. I've got to accomplish this. If I don't accomplish this, then this is going to happen. Or if I don't accomplish this, what is not going to happen? And it's approaching 2018 with that mindset. Facing every assignment relentlessly. You're going after it with a determination like you've never had before. There's no excuses, there's no obstacle, there's nothing that's going to keep you from achieving your assignment and going into it with that mindset. And those when you go into it with that, and that's kind of part of my be unstoppable that we talked about a little bit. That's that be unstoppable that I've been talking about all year, this year, mindset, that mind frame. It's taking it into 2018, but facing every assignment relentlessly. And when you go in with that, when you go in with that mindset, then I think it sets you up for getting to December of 2018 being better than what you are in December of 2017. So that's what that is. And the next thing I did was I broke down what are your 10 assignments. And I've given this to, I just did a speaking engagement, actually 2, this past weekend, Saturday. And this is what I did. I did the personal one for this men's group that I was speaking to. And then I had a business presentation that I did as well. That was a seminar that I did as well, workshop that I did, and I did from the business perspective. But the men that I challenged, I said, what are your 10 assignments that you want to achieve for 2018? And I can't even begin to tell you the great response that these men that we were talking to, that I was talking to, came to me. I mean, these were men that were like, they were ready to go and take on that 2018. You know, they were really set in what they were doing. And like I mentioned, I gave this to my clients as well, because I want them going into 2018 being prepared. I want you to be prepared for 2018. And the only way that you're going to be prepared is if you take the time to map out what it is that you want to do. You know, that GPS going from 2017 to 2018 is just like when you get in your car and you put in a navigation system. You have where you are, and then you have where you're trying to get to. And there is a direction, there's a map to where it is that you want to get to. This is the same thing. So setting that map, that GPS for where you want to be in 2018, this is a part of that. So what are your 10 assignments? If you want to break it down into 2 mental, 2 physical, 2 spiritual, 2 professional, 2 personal, then you can do that. And it can be more than 10. It can be more than 10, but I gave it a minimum. And this is, I don't know if you can see that. This is part of mine right here. and what I'm doing. So this is the work. This is the work that you got to put in so that you can be, so that you can achieve what it is that you want to achieve. So writing down those 10 assignments. And then once you've gotten the 10 assignments, it's about actually developing a strategic plan of action in order to be able to, how do you want to achieve them? What's the assignment? What do you want to, what's your plan in order to be able to achieve it? And what do you need to do in order to be able to achieve it? Are there resources that you need to tap into in order to be able to achieve them, to achieve your assignment? And then, gauging your results as you go along. After that first quarter, doing an assessment of where I am. And did I hit my goals in those first 90 days? If I did, cool. If I didn't, okay, what do I need? What caused me not to be able to achieve, what I wanted to achieve in that first quarter? And then doing that in each quarter. That way it becomes a lot easier when you break it down into pieces, as opposed to just trying to see the whole picture. I got to get here, but when I break it down into little pieces, it becomes a lot easier. You know, the what they say, how do you eat an elephant? One piece at a time. Not that we're gonna eat an elephant.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying about you eat it one piece at a time.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's the way that you do your assignments. You do your assignments one assignment at a time. One assignment at a time, and you can easily be the person that you want to be in 2018.
Well, some things I'm just gonna interject. I think one of the things I tell people, it's not where you are now, it's where you're going. And something that Les Brown said many years ago, it's not over until you win.
There it is.
It's exactly. Not over until you win. So I know that you have some more, but I just wanted to interject and give you a break. Before
no problem.
But I just wanted to interject those things. And one of the things that I do is I don't like the whole thing about relationships. I do those evaluations quarterly. I don't wait for a whole year.
Absolutely. You got to, because what happens is what we'll find is when we do that, then you don't waste time. You know, you aren't wasting time with the relationships that you feel like, you know what, no, this just is not working.
Right.
And you don't because I honestly believe that our most prized asset is our time. You can't get your time back.
Hey, time never lost a fight.
Yep, never lost one. It is undefeated.
Does it say it? Time is undefeated.
Absolutely. So yeah, so you definitely have to do that, like you said. You do it quarterly, and all of them you should be doing them quarterly, like we said, because when you break it down that way, it doesn't seem as overwhelming.
Right.
You know, it doesn't seem as overwhelming, and you find yourself able to handle stuff a lot better when you break it down into segments.
Keep on going. You're on a roll.
Okay. And actually, let's look at it from the business perspective this time. And what I talked about from a business perspective is just what's your vision. And this can actually, like I said, these are interchangeable. What's your vision that you have for your business and for yourself? You know, how do you see it? You have to, and I believe this, you got to see it, you got to write it, and then you got to work it. See it, write it, and work it. When you see it, once you see it, then you can understand, okay, in order for, once I see it, then I can write it. Becomes more realistic because I become accountable when I write it down. It's like I've actually taken the time to write this down, write it out, but then I've got to work it. Once I have the plan, it does you no good to see your vision, to write your vision, and then not work your vision. It does you no good. It does you no good to see it, have it, and not do anything with it. It does you no good. So what's your vision? What vision is it that you have for yourself? What purpose? What purpose are you getting to by achieving what it is that you're trying to achieve? Does it have an end result? My purpose for JNF Enterprises is to enlighten, empower, and impact. Anything that we do has to have those three elements because that's the purpose of JNF Enterprises. I wanted to teach you something, I wanted to equip you with something, and I wanted to impact you with something. That means I have to give you information, resources, and knowledge that you might not have had you not had the encounter with me. That's where that purpose comes from. And then your brand. From a business perspective, what are you trying to do with your brand? Where's your brand now? Where do you want to see your brand? And even as an individual, because you as an individual are always your brand from a business side. On a business side, you are your brand. That's what people see. That's what people are going to be drawn to. People don't buy your products or services. They buy you. You know, they really true. Buy you.
They buy you before they buy the product or service.
Exactly. And even having that fear factor in business as well, facing every assignment relentlessly. That means, from a business perspective, what assignments am I on? And I have to go after those assignments relentlessly. That means if I want to do a certain, if I'm looking at having an amount a goal that I want to achieve, as far as like my what amount of money that I want to make for 2018. Okay, how can I break that down? How does that break down into monthly? How does that get broken down into quarterly? And then what do I need in order to be able to do that? And going after that, having that fear factor. And I talked a little bit about this, about the quarters, breaking it down, breaking the business down, or the personal into the quarters. Right. But from a business perspective, I broke it down into quarters as well. But I did this for them. The first quarter is about your foundation. It's about establishing your foundation, where you, as a business, doing kind of feeling out what you need to do. If you want to think of it in terms of track or in boxing as well, that first 100 meters or that first quarter is about establishing yourself. If you're a runner, it's about establishing where you're going to be, what you want to do. From business perspective, same thing. Where are you? Where you want to be. The second quarter is about your positioning. Where do I want to position myself? The first quarter in a boxing match, those first 3 rounds, the boxers are feeling themselves out. They're kind of seeing what strategy their opponent has or what they do. You do the same thing with your business. Okay, this first quarter, this first month, what am I trying to do? How do I get my feet in and going? Second, in that second month, same thing. Where do I need to be? Who are the people that I'm trying to get connected to? That second quarter, about positioning. Where do I need to be? What events do I need to be at? If I'm trying to grow my brand, what events do I need to be at? Who's my target market? Where do I need to? How do I get to connect with my target market? Do I need to be on social media more? Do I need to be at events, at some more networking events more? Understanding what my position is and placing myself in the positions that I need to be in order to be able to do what it is that I want to do. The third thing is about the push, and the third quarter. With the track, here we go again with the track, and I'm sorry if I'm using sports analogies, but this is something that I kind of find I think people can relate to. So that third leg is about the push. It's about understanding, okay, I'm getting ready to come into that last leg. So I've got to make sure that I'm pushing myself now for the finish. And the fourth quarter is about that finishing strong. It's about positioning myself so that I have what my dad in track and field called, you have a kick. You got to have that kick. You got to have that last bit of energy, because in that third part, when you're pushing, you're either the leader, the person that's out front. If you're the person that's out front, you got to be able to push so that you can stay in front and keep where you are. Or if you're the one that's behind, you got to have a push because you know that you're trying to catch the person that's in front of you. So you've got to be able to understand being able to, to have that kick both ways. If I'm the one that's leading, I got to have a kick because I don't want the folks that's behind me to catch me. Or if I'm behind, I've got to have enough to be able to push myself into the finish so that I can finish strong. So it's about breaking the year down into those quarterly increments. And like we talked about, when you do that, I think you can be more. I think you'll be more successful when you do it that way, as opposed to just getting boggled down with just seeing that big picture and not having a way in order to be able to get there. So when you do that, and the next thing is I call it, for those that may play golf, is your putt game. And what's your putt game in golfing? I don't know much about golf, but I do know that there's a long game and there's a short game. Your long game is hitting it, driving the ball onto the green. But your putt game is your shorter distances that you have to hit the ball with your putt game. And what does putt stand for? Which is PUTT. And that's your being prepared and understanding. Being prepared, understanding equals or will become the demand for your time and your talent. If you're prepared and you understand, whether it's your industry that you're in, whether you have an understanding of your business and where it is that you're trying to go to, and being prepared in those moments that you're going to need in order to be able to get you to where you are, because there's going to be moments throughout the year that you're going to have in order to be able to achieve what it is that you're going to achieve, whether it's getting over certain hurdles, being able to make sure that you're at certain events and doing certain things, all of those things. You have to be prepared when you go to, if it's a speaking engagement, for those that may be speakers, motivational speakers, or even like you with your show. You don't just come on your show and wing it.
No.
You usually have an agenda.
Yeah, your preparation. Preparation is the key.
For being prepared. And even an understanding. You have an understanding of who you're going to be speaking to, because you do your research on the speaker or the person that's going to be coming on, so you have an understanding of them. Same way as a business owner, and even as an individual, you got to understand you. Because if you don't understand you, if you don't understand your business, then you're not going to be able to achieve what it is that you want to achieve. And when you do those first two, I promise you, if you're prepared and you understand, people will begin to demand your time and your talent, because they will see the asset that you bring, or the information, the resources, and the knowledge that you bring to whatever platform or whatever it is that you're on. I'm sure having two, if I didn't understand, or if you didn't see the time, the talent that I had, and the resources or information, knowledge that I could bring to your platform. Because I know you're not just bringing anybody on your show.
Filter.
So you have to have those things, and as a consequence, that becomes a demand for your time to be able to prepare for the shows and have people on your show, and to be able to have a topic to be able to talk about. Same thing with the person that comes on. They should be prepared. They should understand. They should be doing some research on your show. Who is Dr. Vibe? What is his platform? Who is his audience? Who are the people that he's going to be talking to, or that are going to be listening to him? And how do I fit into that platform? So when you do those, when you have your putt game together, trust me, it becomes a thing where you are so prepared, you are so ready to be able to move progressively in your approach to being better in December 2018. And then the last two things was the assignments, your 10 assignments business wise. What do you want to accomplish in your business? Like we said, if it's a certain salary that you want to accomplish, if it's just if it's a certain training that you want to do, if it's different things that you want. I got a list of things that I want to do. Develop, going over my marketing plan, developing, having a sales pitch, a better sales pitch. Who can I partner with? I mentioned about having the strategic partnerships. How do I go about developing those partnerships? Did I do my homework on those who I want to be partners with? How do I do that? How does that grow my business? How does that grow my brand? All of those things, coming up with your list. And then the last part of that is your plan of action. What's your game plan? How do you intend on accomplishing those assignments that you put there for yourself? And coming up with a month by month, week by week, day by day action plan in order to be able to achieve those goals. And I think when you do that and you implement that plan, I promise you, if you work that plan and you do those things, you will be a better person in December 2018 than you are in than you were in 2017. Because I know Muhammad Ali said this: if you're the same man at 40 that you were at 20, you've wasted 20 years of your life.
Absolutely. Well, good rundown. And actually, I want to add some things to what Leroy said, and to give him a little bit of a break because he was on fire for the last few moments. One of the things I will say is I'll put a challenge out there to business people. And this is a challenge I've made to myself because one of my major mentors put this challenge out to me. Make a list of 20 people that you haven't worked with that you want to work with in 2018.
Wow. That's huge.
So I've got a list of 20 people I either want to collaborate with or have on the Dr. Vibe Show Home of Epic Conversations in 2018.
Wow. I like that.
So,
I like that.
So it's so that 20 list, and also very key too is that another key for those people out there who are in business, whether you're an entrepreneur in a business, we always talk about service, but you also have to look at the experience.
Yep.
So look at the service that you're providing as a business owner or a business. Look at the service and what's the experience that people are having. Because obviously if you're providing someone the service and they never come back, obviously it's not a great experience.
Not at all.
Right? And I'll give a perfect example. My mentor the other day, he was online. He bought a $70 shirt at a store. Gets home, opens it up. He's got to take out pins out of the shirt. So when you're taking the pins out of the shirt, that means there's holes in the shirt. Right? Who wants to be wearing a shirt with holes in it? Right? So there's an example of service and experience. They gave a great service selling them the shirt, but the experience of getting home and opening up that shirt, not good. So I think a lot of us have to look out there. What is our service and experience? And one other thing I will add is the old axiom in business about know, like, and trust. Many people know that, but there's two other things to that. Do you have what your customer wants? And can they afford it? So look at those things. If you're not where you want to be, I think many of the things that Leroy has shared, you need to look at, and I'm just putting in some syrup on top of the pancakes that he's laid, that you may want to take a look at. Service and experience, and also another thing for business owners out there, when was the last time you conducted a survey?
Feedback.
Right? Because, the last time you conducted a survey, because you may be surprised what you hear. And
absolutely,
not only surprised, but you may get opportunities that you didn't know about because you didn't ask people. And when you ask them, they'll be able to tell you where you need to go. Because sometimes what you think you're good at and what people want from you are two different things.
Absolutely. And I think when you do that, when you do the survey, it gives you the opportunity to not only meet the needs of your clients or your customers, but also to exceed their expectation from what they get from you. And when you do that, I think you gain loyal customers. That's where, to me, that's where the loyalty comes from, because they see when you do a survey, they're like, wow, they're actually taking time out to listen to me. And then imagine that customer or client that you have that you did a survey with, and they wrote down something, and they come back to you, and they now see that what they wrote is now being implemented by you. That's right. Huge.
You want as many people as possible to become your brand ambassadors.
Yep.
Right? Absolutely. And if people, and I've used that term periodically over the years, and if people don't know what that means, those are people who will promote your business and service to people you don't even know. And when they promote it, and I'll give a very easy example. Enough people have probably watched Star Wars over the last few days. How many people have they told Hundreds, thousands, probably millions. But none of those people who did the promoting are getting paid for it.
Yep.
So get the brand ambassadors out there for you. And also, again, it's age old, but it's surprising how many people don't have testimonials.
Yeah. Yeah.
Age old. Yeah. You know, and I'll be transparent. I updated my website earlier on this year. I had a website for years that had no testimonials on it. None. None. Since June, I have 40.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome. You just gave me something too. Yep. Absolutely.
Right? And if people want an education on that, you can certainly contact me. But people say, oh, how did you get so many testimonials? Well, I provide a service. I have them come on my Epic Conversations. Second of all, they enjoyed the experience. So much so that they're willing to provide a testimonial about their experience, and I make sure with their testimonial it links back to their website.
Absolutely.
Simple. And those 40 people are brand ambassadors for me. And also in 2018, let's make sure that we look at our business moves. Are they an expense or are they an investment?
Ooh.
Right? We don't like expenses, but we want investments. Now remember, investments need nurture and take time.
Absolutely.
So make your decisions in 2018 as much investments as possible.
Expenses and investments. I like that.
Right. So this wasn't, I just put, again, just syrup. I'm going to stop now because I could go on forever and I don't want to bore people because Leroy's the star, not me. So I just wanted to add those things on to just show that I have maybe a little bit of game too, folks. So I just wanted to make sure I'm not just, I'm not just an online conversation host. I have some things I just wanted to add on to the valuable information that Leroy has supplied here. Are there any other conversation pieces you would like to add to our audience for 2018?
No, the only thing that I would add to what we, to the conversation and what we said is in order to be able to be who you want to be in 2018, it's about sitting down and having a conversation with yourself. Whether it's for your business or for you personally, it's having that conversation with yourself, sitting down and planning out what it is that you want to do. And I'll keep saying this: you got to see it, you got to write it, and you got to work it. That means once you see your vision, you got to write your vision, and then you got to work your vision. It doesn't work unless you work it.
Actually, I want to add something onto that. What you say about have a conversation with yourself. And I haven't mentioned this for a long time, but here's a question I have for people. Do the way you talk to people, is it the same way you talk to yourself?
Ooh, that's deep.
I'll just leave that there.
Yeah, let that marinate.
I put that, like if you have a stove and you have from 0 to 9, I just turned it down from 9 down to 1 and just let it invest in some heat for a while, right? Now exactly. I'm gonna say I'm not perfect, but what I will say is, and that's another thing, failure is not a bad thing, because I tell people fail fast and fail often. Because failure is a moment, it's not a person.
Exactly. And failure actually helps us to be able to propel us to where it is that we want to be. Yeah. I can't tell you, I guarantee you there's not one successful person, there's not one great person that we can think of that has not failed. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they don't build statues for critics, right? And a lot of times we get jealous of people who have made it, but a lot of times we didn't want to go through what they went through to get there.
Yep, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So you got to be hungry. You got to have a pursuit of happiness. And you know what? Where you are now is not where you're going.
Exactly.
You know, and you get up every morning. If you're a man, you got to get up and say, I'm the man for the job. And if you're a lady, you got to say, I'm the woman for the job. And then I'll bring Leroy back into saying, you got to be unstoppable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And surround yourself with people who have answers and not problems.
And surround with people who have like minds than you do. Because sometimes you're just going to, sometimes you're going to have to just, as we say, dash some people. Because they don't believe in you. You say, no problem, but I'm on my way.
Yep.
To say, I'm on my way. Right? I'm on my way. I love you, but I'm on my way. Either you're with me or you're not without me. You're not with me. That's fine. If you're not with me, I still love you, but I got a job to do, and I got to get the job done.
Absolutely. And I wrote a poem, one of my poems that's in one of my books. It said, "Get on board or get left behind."
Right.
Because I'm going. Well, the title of the poem is "I'm going somewhere," and one of the lines in the poem is "Get on board or get left behind," because I'm going somewhere.
Yeah, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Where I am now is not where I'm going. Simple as that. And I can testify. I've been doing this for 10 years. Where I am, where I was even a month ago, isn't where I am now. Right?
Absolutely.
You always got to always.
And that's what 2018 is about too.
Yeah. You always got to think 2 steps ahead, folks.
Yep.
You know, I don't use the word busy. I use the word positive, productive. Because when people tell me they're busy, I say, busy doing what? And when they tell me, I say, really? But I'm going to leave it at that. Leroy, we finally got it. We got you on.
I know, right?
When folks, there were so many technical challenges. We made it happen. And we are better because we didn't quit.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's literally be unstoppable, right?
We're unstoppable, and it was unstoppable on both ends. I could have said to Leon, we have too many technical challenges. It ain't going to happen. No, we're going to make this happen. We're going to find a way, right? Because you guys don't know the stories and the craziness we went through to make this happen tonight. So it's a done deal. Want to say thank you so much for taking positive time in your positive productive schedule to share with us. If people want to find out more about what you offer, your services, how can they do that?
Sure, absolutely. They can go visit the website at www.jnfenterprises.com, or we're on all of the social media platforms. Well, I should say not all, but we're on Facebook, JNF Enterprises, JNF Enterprises, or my personal page, Leroy McKenzie Jr., Twitter at JNF Enterprises 1, and on Instagram at JNF Enterprises. So everything JNF Enterprises, or you can find me under Leroy McKenzie Jr. on Facebook.
Excellent. Well, folks, end of another epic conversation. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, also a certified empowerment coach, president and CEO of Express Your Vibe Coaching and Communications. If you'd like a complimentary 30-minute empowerment session, you can touch base with me on Twitter at drvibeshow, email me at dr.vibe@the drvibeshow.com, or you can go to my website, drvibeshow.com. Click on the Contact Dr. Vibe Show, and we'll make it happen. Also, if you want to listen to audio replays of my epic conversations, you can go to my website. You can also go to Apple Podcasts. You can go to iHeartRadio, Tuned In Radio, Google Play Music Store, or Stitcher Radio to listen to epic replays audio-wise. You can also watch replays of my YouTube conversations. You can just go to YouTube, put in the search engine, _SHOW. No, I got that wrong again. _VIBE_SHOW. That's what you do. Well, you'll see almost now 400 replays of epic audio video conversations. Also, I'm a brand ambassador for the only online magazine dedicated to African Americans in food, wine, and travel. The name of the magazine is Cuisine Noir Magazine. The website address is cuisinenoirmag.com. Also, I provide a service offering called Getting Media Coverage. So if you're a business or a company that you want to get promotion to the world of media, please contact me, because what we do is we give you promotion to media outlets so you can elevate your business or service. So finally, last 3 things. Actually, 4 things I'm going to do here. First of all, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Next up, sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. And while we're broadcasting this live during the holiday season, think about this. Which person would you rather be? A person who has little that is satisfied, or a person who has a lot that's never satisfied? God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith. Thanks for watching this live or on the replay. Remember, walk good. Good night, and thanks for watching. God bless.